Throughout the thousands of fictional superhero universes, there always has to be a starting place, the first one to ever do it, the pioneer, if you will. And when it comes to the superpowered, it all starts with one man. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's a... With Superman being one of the first superheroes ever and arguably the most important superhero ever created, it was inevitable that there would be copycats. But it seems in recent times, the copycats are outshining and even outranking Super Peak when it comes to movies, TV shows, and even comic character tier list. As you all know, I am a DC fan, all over that Marvel shit. With the exception of Spider-Man, my favorite comic characters have always been in DC. Even this motherfucker with 5 minutes of screen time is up there. Now, I'm sure you all know, in recent times, DC characters have not had the best on-screen portrayals. Basically, they be doing DC dirty. Batfleck stayed strapped with the heat for some reason.
It would be so awesome. It would be so cool.
Wonder Woman had some questionable dialogue. And whatever the fuck was going on with Flash.
He's pulling his cock out.
However, despite all of these faults, these characters never quite fell out of the spotlight. In light of the new Superman movie coming out, it made me wonder, what has been going wrong with Superman?
Your little pussy belongs to me.
Why is the most popular superhero ever created losing popularity? So, I've broken it down into 3 different sections on why Superman has lost his spot as the #1 superhero.
Oh wait, I can't read.
Section 1, powers. Now, personally, I am a big fan of Superman's power set. In saying that, I can see why some people would rather see other heroes with a more complex set of superpowers. Section 2, representation. Within, I want to say the last 5 to 10 years, the image of Superman has been dragged through the dirt in what I like to call the edgy era, losing his golden boy vision and becoming, well, edgier. And finally, Section 3, oversaturation. While Superman is arguably the most popular superhero ever, there is always a limit on how much someone can be used, and for Superman's case, Brother Man has been used a lot.
Subscribe, please.
Laranja, acerola e mel. Uma doçura.
Some people might say Superman has boring powers and abilities. I personally, like I said, do not understand this when this point is argued. If you look at recent Superman copycats such as Homelander, Omni-Man, and whoever the fuck this dude was,
Dad, that's Superman. Dad, that's Superman.
Who the fuck is this?
they all have relatively the same powers: flight, super strength, invulnerability, and some form of laser vision, besides a few of them.
Listen, please.
What?
What's
That's
weird is that the
weird.
copycats seem to get a pass when it comes to the use of their powers. I would argue that people think their powers are awesome. So why are Superman's powers perceived as less cool or boring when watching him? Now, the one thing Superman and these specific characters don't have in common is that Superman isn't a villain. So these characters use the same abilities in a more aggressive way. Whether that's destroying airplanes with passengers on board, using your son's face to destroy a train, or doing whatever this fake ass dude was doing in Eternals.
Who the fuck is this?
The tension is so high in every scene with the Superman copycats because they're big, they're powerful, and pretty much unstoppable compared to everyone else in their respected universe. It's no doubt that DC has some extremely strong characters. People like Lobo, Darkseid, The Flash, Batman's bank account, they can all go toe-to-toe with Superman, making it seem like Superman's powers aren't that strong compared to Homelander, who's able to one-shot most of the people in The Boys. People tend to forget that Superman's power level is galaxies beyond his copycats. If you throw the Man of Steel in any other universe, such as The Boys, Invincible, whatever this kid was in, Superman clears no diff. They're copying his moves. Remember, Superman was the first to have these powers. But like I said, to me, these type of powers are the most fun to watch, and maybe they do fit a villain better, but have y'all seen Man of Steel? You cannot deny the action is amazing, and for me personally, there isn't a better moveset than Superman's when you watch it on the big screen. Superman suffers the same criticisms as one of my other favorite characters, Darkseid. When people see Superman or Darkseid being able to fight the big bad or beat the heroes with ease, it takes away from the stakes that would be there if these characters didn't exist. I remember when the Snyder Cut version of Justice League came out, Steppenwolf was destroying the Justice League before Superman arrives. And then, within 10 minutes, Superman had beat Steppenwolf, no sweat. While I thought this sequence was amazing, I can understand why people think this is lazy or boring. Without the villain aspect of his power set, Superman becomes a state-of-the-art superhero. I mean, no shit, he was like one of the first ones. Now, in saying this, Superman's overwhelming power is what makes his character great when Superman is represented correctly, which leads me to section 2. When you think of Superman, what do you see? Because while it should be this, I wouldn't blame you if you saw this. The villainization of Superman has been catastrophic for his character. At this point, Superman has done more evil than good. My first memories of Superman was Regime Superman in the mobile Injustice Gods Among Us game.
I'm over here stroking my dick.
Why was everyone so interested in evil Superman? As I said, Superman's overwhelming power is what makes his character great when Superman is represented correctly. So you might ask, how does one represent Superman correctly? I cannot stress this enough. Superman is not evil. Even with all his power and ability to take over the world, he doesn't do that. Instead, he devotes his life to protect it. This is what makes Superman. Hollywood does not seem to understand this aspect of his characters. I mean, again, have y'all seen Man of Steel? Do you see how many buildings this motherfucker is destroying? This is clearly villainous activity, which is why I believe that with such an iconic character with countless media adaptations, they should probably stop starting these stories at the beginning. I mean, we all know who Superman and Batman is. We do not need to see Superman's ship landing in Kansas or Bruce's parents getting cooked anymore. Now, I am a fan of Regime Superman in Injustice, but that's only because there is still a Golden Boy Superman trying to stop this alternate universe.
You don't belong here. My obligations don't end at the borders of my dimension.
Regime Superman is not Superman. This is without a doubt the biggest problem with Superman and why I think a lot of people are turning away from him. I don't know who thought this was a good idea to give Superman a 180, but I think returning Superman to his Golden Boy, saving cats from trees status will help with his likability as well as DC as a whole. In being the most iconic superhero of all time, it leads to section 3, Oversaturation. Now, this section might not be as big as the other two, but seeing too much of someone can put a bad taste in people's mouth.
What did he say?
They have been making movies with Big Blue since 1970. Through 11 different actors in 10 different movies, plus countless TV shows and video games, Superman has had a lot of time spent on screen, compared to Spider-Man, who's only had 3 different on-screen actors. But again, you might ask, Worms, doesn't Batman have much more actors in the same amount of movies as Superman does? Yeah, he does. But one thing about Batman is there really isn't another character quite like Batman. Sure, you have your billionaire crusaders like Green Arrow and Iron Man, or your brute force fighters like Daredevil and Moon Knight, but none of these characters share the level of impact Batman does. Also, these characters have never overtaken Batman's place in terms of popularity. Now, this might really be recency bias, but I feel like the Superman clones like Homelander and Omni-Man are being talked about more than Superman himself. So when you talk about Homelander and you talk about Omni-Man for so much time, you tend to forget about Superman. This is what I mean by oversaturation. Superman is being lost in his own world of copycats. Do I think that this would change once Superman Legacy releases? Maybe if the movie absolutely rocks, which I hope it does, but once Invincible Season 3 comes out and The Boys Season 5 comes out, it'll go right back to how it is now. Now, honestly, do I think Superman has lost his spot as the most popular superhero ever created? No, I don't think anyone will be able to take that away from him, but I do think people are forgetting about who the GOAT really is. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments what you think of Superman and what else you'd like me to talk about. I'll see you guys in the next video.